And so 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, it's Dean with the Two Party Podcast, and I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to say your name. I've been this week. I've been horrible with guest names, so I'm gonna try it. So I am on here and with Dijana Llugolli. The J is silent, isn't it? It's Diana.
Yes.
Bam.
Yes. Yeah. You
All right,
got
I was
it.
close. So again, I'm on here with Diana. I'm just gonna go ahead and give her the floor right now. I want her to introduce herself, kind of tell the audience where you're from, a little bit about your background, and we'll just go from there. Go ahead, Diana.
First of all, Dean, thank you for having me. It's always such a pleasure to be a guest on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like being podcaster myself, it's always to just be on the other side of the screen. And just want to thank you. Like you're doing an amazing stuff, and I hope this is going to be valuable conversation for you, audience and listeners.
For sure. We're glad
Who
to
is
have you
Dee?
here.
So Dee, I am a small town girl from Ljubljana, Slovenia. I moved to Sweden 7 years ago, where I left basically everything what's supposed to be a dream life. An
Mm-hmm.
IKEA apartment, a really amazing job at university where I also got my master's degree in business. At that time, I had one little kid, and I was actually on the way. I was pregnant with the second child when I said, you know what, this no, this
Mm-hmm.
is not life.
Yeah.
Where was, my parents who were immigrants, they migrated from Bosnia to Slovenia. They always wanted for us to be successful. And I think that their version of success was actually like to be accepted by society.
Right.
That me like being, accepted, having this great job and, having an apartment and like my husband had a great job and that was a success for them.
Mm-hmm.
But on the outside, yeah, of course it was success, but it was inside it was such a pain. I
Mm-hmm.
can't even like tell you how much when I reflect back and I just see myself now, um, you know really comparing to the life that I was living 7 8 years ago. Oh my goodness, like I was in so much pain because I didn't live my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my husband, I'm going to be 1 year on maternity with the second kid. Let's just try something new. And
Yep.
that opportunity actually came because we were so excited to actually put this out to the universe. I don't know how much you
Mm-hmm.
believe in law of attraction, but this was like,
Mm-hmm.
let's just manifest something.
Yeah.
And I actually manifested a scholarship here at the Stockholm University, and I said, let's go, let's go. It's gonna be super. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have this apartment there, and um, little did we know when we came here that we're gonna love it so much here in
Right.
Stockholm that we said let's just stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And first year in, um, I left from my job in Slovenia, of course, and I was on the hunt to have a job here. I sent 2,800 applications for a job. Um, no
That's a
job.
lot.
Like
Yeah.
no job. Like there was like literally they were saying to me like you can't speak Swedish, we can't take you. You have
Wow.
so many qualifications. I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years prior to
Mm-hmm.
that. I had like really good qualifications. There was like no job. So I went to a job that wouldn't require me to speak language, like cleaning houses and all this good stuff. And I found myself in a really like bad place, like mental place. Like
Yes.
I was, what's that? I feel that I'm meant for more. Did I left like my dream job and my dream life for this?
Right.
No,
Yeah. You get real
but we
discouraged
did.
very easily. Yeah.
But Dean, I hustled. I knew that I'm an only bread provider, and I
Mm-hmm.
hustled, and and I knew why I'm doing what I'm doing because I knew that there has to be a light at the end of
Yeah.
this. There has to be, and that was like full year. Looking back to that 2013 and 14, like I would relive it because it gave me so much resilience. It gave me
Mm-hmm.
so much strength and reassurance that I can overcome anything.
Right.
There was like some mornings when I needed to wake up at 5 a.m. and I was like, oh fuck, I want to
Uh-huh.
sleep. Like,
Yep.
I don't want to wake up. I don't want to go to this crazy job where,
Yeah.
no one respects you. People, like my boss would tell me like, you're just a cleaner. Why are you studying Swedish? Like those horrible stuff when
Yeah.
when people are just like don't believe in you.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show
Mm-hmm.
you. I was so self-confident in in 2014 when I resigned that job. It was just like it was too much, and I said, what,
Mm-hmm.
screw you.
Yeah.
Another door opened.
Yeah,
I
you
got
tend
the
to
job.
know when an opportunity is just not going the direction your vision wants it to be, and there just comes a time where no
100%.
matter how great the pay is, there's something better out there.
Yeah, yeah. It was so hard, because I logically it didn't make sense because
Mm-hmm.
we had like really like expenses, and I said, what, screw you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
burn the bridge and I'm just gonna go full in.
Yeah.
And when you, I do believe like this is a nugget, you guys. When you close the door
Mm-hmm.
to something that really doesn't excites you, that don't like really empowers you, there will always be another door that will open for
Yep.
you, because the courage and the that grit
Mm-hmm.
will always be like will how do I say it, like will always reward you,
Mm-hmm.
always, always,
Yeah.
always.
Yep. There's always, uh, we always hear about, if you just work hard, it'll come to you and this and that. And that's true. It's very true in everything you do in life. You have to work hard. And if you have a goal or a vision, you have to work hard to get to it. It takes, like you said, self-confidence. It takes determination. You have to be determined to get from point A to point B and face the challenges that you have in front of you. In my past, I've had a lot of ups and downs. And I know that there's been times where it's like, man, I know right where I want to go. I see my goal. But there'll be things, whether it's finances, a car accident, a death of a loved one, so many things that get in your way, and it's discouraging. It's discouraging. But if you just stay focused on your goal, sometimes, like you said, another opportunity will open up.
Mm, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, we were talking just before we started recording the show, and I was looking at your podcast, Fearless and Successful, and I've literally, and I've lived through so much crazy trauma and stuff in my life, but we do talk a lot on the show, and the audience knows we discuss a lot about mental health, we discuss a lot about self-improvement, we discuss a lot about suicide awareness, just and really the biggest thing I like to promote is just kindness. Just there's so many things you can do in your daily walk, whether it's going from your house to the store, holding a door for someone, giving a compliment, smile, giving somebody a hug, buying a person's meal behind you in the drive-through. There's so many little things you can do in life that may completely take somebody out of their element of misery, depression, and anxiety, and it can absolutely flip them over to a whole different perspective of life, just even in that day, in that moment, for that one moment. And we encourage that so much. And looking at your podcast, looking at Fearless and Successful podcast, there is so many things and different episodes, and I encourage my audience to check this out. There's so many episodes on here that just teach and give coping skills. Just like you said, at that moment in your life where you were just like, you know what, enough of this, let me move forward. And it just, tell us a little bit about, your thought processes when you face things that are difficult, how you get through them.
This is so funny that you actually bring this up, being kind. I think that my coping, when I reflect back, when I said, enough is enough, was because I had a person who actually believed in me more than I believed in myself. And
Mm-hmm.
that was my good friend who just said one day, she said, I called her in the morning and I said, I'm so tired, Anna. Like, I can't do this anymore. And because she was the person who always opened the heart and hold the space for me, I was able to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know if and because of that, I'm always open to be this heart-centered person
Mm-hmm.
to hold a space where people can come to me, and and they can, as a coach, I think that's really
Yeah.
powerful thing, to that people feel that they can come and say, you know what, I feel shitty.
Yeah.
That you see them, that you hear them. And I called Anna and I said, I can't do this anymore. And she said, you know what? Just, come this evening to a presentation. We have a business presentation. It was about the network marketing, and just, let's just have some fun. I
Mm-hmm.
said, girl, like, I haven't fixed my eyebrows for 10 months. Like, do you
Yep.
feel that I can have fun? Like, no way. He said, just come, just come. It's going to be worth it. And this was it. Like, that was the evening when I said, there was a guy who explained something in Swedish, and I was like, seriously, I'm so tired, and you bring me to this presentation which I don't even understand.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he said, 1 year from now, you wished you do it today. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And next day, I went to my office and I said, I resign. And then
Mm-hmm.
I just needed,
It
like, it
made
was,
sense.
yeah,
Yep.
it landed. I was ready. No, I wasn't ready. I was shit scared, but it was like, yes, 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 yes. This is it. And I think one of these, like, the biggest thing is that I accepted help. I accepted support.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, you probably have friends, or, whoever, people don't see them. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you see that, maybe they are smiling, but behind that facade, it
Yep.
can be something that is, we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so crucial to have a person that will always see you as you are.
Yeah. And it's important to have those people in our lives. We don't realize just how important it is to have, once we grow out, we become adults, we turn whatever age, we get out of our parents' house, and we just assume the world is ours, we can do what we want. And we don't think that we need accountability partners. We don't think we need people to hold us accountable, hold us responsible for our actions, let alone, the things we're doing with our life. And, it's nice to know that we can find somebody to confide in, like you said, somebody who has a space that we can always come cry on their shoulder, explain, and be honest about our feelings. For women, obviously it's a lot different than for men. Us men, we got to act tough, and we got to, we're all masculine. But at the end of the day, men have emotions too, and society's kind of ingrained us to hide them and stuff. And those are things that are just unhealthy. It's really good to find someone we can speak to, whether it's a good friend, a confidant. I encourage people, if they really are going through really hard times, coping with stuff, that seek a counselor. Counseling used to be frowned upon for many years, and nowadays it's pretty normal. The average person usually can go find a good counselor and get some good counseling if you don't have good friends. But it's
And
really important.
yeah, and I think it's like, and especially because I consider myself as a very, like, yeah, I'm a Cancer, but it's like, I'm very emotional, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
show emotions. Like, I don't. And for me, like, being in this, online presence, and being, someone who is a leader, was really hard to open myself.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point, one of my friends, she told me, she said, you don't need to appear as a superwoman.
Yeah.
You don't need to, because that's not relatable.
Mm-hmm.
99% of your audience, they are moms.
Yeah.
Do you feel that they can jump 120 percent every time, every day?
Mm-hmm.
They can. And
No.
that's not normal. You're not a robot. Like,
Yeah.
just show feelings. And once I started to be more vulnerable, it really, like, landed. Like,
Yes.
my people started to share and open up, and they really respected. When I realized being vulnerable and raw, that's not, it's strength.
Yeah.
That's not, it's really, really good. Gives you power.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like, I seen Tony Robbins cry on the stage. Like,
Yeah.
he appears to be this guru and giant. Like,
Yep.
but emotions are something that we can't hide, and we shouldn't hide.
No,
Maybe as
never.
kids, we were taught, like, don't
Mm-hmm.
cry. You're a
Yeah.
baby.
Yep.
This is what we bought into.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cry. Like,
Yeah.
allow
You
yourself to be.
you have to allow yourself to express these emotions. And you know, it's different professionally. You know, when you're a business owner, you've got a lot going on, especially in the corporate world. You know how it goes. It literally, you don't have time. You know, time is of the essence. Time is money. You don't have time to sit around and cry. You don't have time to sit around and do these things. But there comes a point in a time where to really be the top in your game, you have to reflect and make time for yourself. And even if that means taking a moment, 5 minutes to step into a bathroom or a private room and cry, you know, be vulnerable, let it out. Or even if it's one of those things where you're really busy, but you have a counseling appointment and you have set aside one day a week or one day a month where you go see somebody to talk these things out. It's the most important thing to have self-care. It's the most important thing in the business world, especially where is high rates of suicide and different things that go on in the business world. It's very real. And so it's very important we take care of ourselves. We nurture those emotions. We recognize what's healthy and we recognize what's unhealthy. We remove those things that are unhealthy or character defects that we don't need, that just kind of just bring us down. We don't need those things.
I love this. And I think that you're talking about awareness, being aware that these
Mm-hmm.
emotions don't like try to mash it. Like they are there. They're just gonna come back and
you're better
up,
off embracing. Yeah, you're better off embracing that feeling than to run from it.
Yeah. And like, you know, and we probably like, and I remember when I was a kid, like my mom used to tell me like, you know, don't cry, like, because I was bullied as a kid, you know, and I would come home and I would feel like, you know, and she would say like, don't cry.
Yeah.
And I learned not to cry. I learned that this is not okay to be, you know, emotional. And, or they would say, you know, if I felt, a little bit enthusiastic, don't show that you're too happy about something. Why not?
Like control your emotions and why? Yeah, exactly why.
I don't think that, you know, the best thing is to being aware of what you're feeling, because, you know, it's the fact is that our emotion control our life. And if you are not present with emotions, you cannot control them back. You react.
Yeah.
You know? And being aware of, you know, what it is that I'm feeling right now and coping with that feeling. Maybe like one of my favorite things is to just went out. I take my mobile. I'm not such a good writer. I don't like to journal extensively, but I take my mobile and I voice type myself.
Yes.
And I just like, you know, I take it out. And one of my favorites is actually one of my D55 rule. You know, when I feel something that it's like, oh, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stuck, something like, okay, what does that actually mean? What is that feeling? I ask myself, and then I ask myself the second question, okay, does that matter right now? Will that matter in 5 years? And if the answer is no, so okay, I give you 5 minutes to just like, you know, cope with that emotion.
Yeah, reflect on it.
Do you need to box a bag? Do you need to like, what do you need to scream it out, girl?
Yeah.
And then when 5 minutes, that's enough. Because that if that emotion or that thing that stresses me, it's not important and won't make big difference in 5 years or 10 years. Like, give yourself time, but not too much.
Yeah, we don't want to dwell on things. Yeah.
Right. And then if this thing is important, let's just say that you're like bank calls, you're in debt, and you know they want to take your house or whatever. That's a huge thing when you're overwhelmed. Okay, so it's the same process. Okay, be in the thought, be in the emotion, but then after 5 minutes, okay, what is my next best?
Yeah, what's the next
what
step?
What do I need to do?
Yep. You got to take action.
Right. Do I need to ask for help? Can I call someone who can, you know, sometimes when we react in this emotion, that's the worst thing.
Yeah, that can get us in trouble.
Right. And you can get like, you will call back and you will say, I'm not going to give you the money. Like, you can take the house. And that's the worst thing. Like, I'm just like exaggerating here.
Yeah.
But, you know, taking the emotion, you're stressed. Okay, what's going on here? Let's just be present with the stress for 5 minutes and then think what it is that I can do
Yeah, and I find a lot of times, I'm really good. I have a lot of friends that come to me for advice. A lot of friends that have seen my walk in life change from who I used to be to where I am now. And I have a lot of friends that call me and they're like, "Man, how did you get there? How did you overcome these certain things you used to go through? I know you used to be, a bad guy. You used to do things, we used to all be scared of you. Like, how did you become a person that I want to talk to? How did you get there?" And I have friends that I am so, and I not to toot my own horn, but I guess I'm pretty good at giving advice because I've lived through so much bad stuff. And so I have a lot of friends that'll call me, and I find it odd sometimes that sometimes as an individual I can give everybody great advice, but sometimes I can't give myself good advice, and sometimes I don't follow my own advice, and I get myself in trouble that way. Like you said, sometimes I react to things before I really need to. Even now, throughout my journey of self-reflection and looking in the mirror and kind of changing things that I don't like about myself, each day I try to be a better person than I was yesterday. But sometimes I just can't find the advice that I need for me. And sometimes that's important to really, again, why we need someone to bounce things off of, where we can say, what is it that you see? Because we can always look in the mirror and reflect on ourselves. But even if we're really, really, really honest, we may not want to face certain things. Whereas if we can
Yeah.
get somebody we respect who will give us feedback and criticism in a loving way, an honest way, and not sugarcoat it, they can literally tell us, these are things I see you do kind of weird. These are things that you're not very good at, or you react a certain way under pressure in these aspects. So it's real important that we also surround ourselves with like-minded people. So if I'm on a journey
Yes.
like I have been, trying to do better and be better, I don't want to hang out with people that aren't doing good. I don't want to hang out
Yes.
with people that are going to feed me negative information when I'm trying to be positive.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I think that we can give your audience a little tip because I still see a lot of this. I ditched the news for 3 years ago.
Yeah, I try.
Maybe
I'm a
we,
journalist, but I try not to watch the news, but I only watch it because I am a journalist and I have to kind of keep up with stuff.
it's
Otherwise,
a
I don't
profession.
watch it. It is so nonsense to watch the news.
But I'm thinking like more of a sense like I know that a lot of my friends that haven't been watching the news for long, but now they are just kind of stuck in. I
Mm-hmm.
can say from my perspective, maybe like Sweden is such a unique point of view
Mm-hmm.
where we don't. We have this crazy politics that
Yeah.
we run our own thing and
Mm-hmm.
we don't have any lockdowns. Maybe we think we are in our own bubble, but regardless, we decided when the COVID hit in March, I said to my husband, we won't allow fear to come here, to cripple
Yeah.
into our household because we have 3 kids. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be, that this is like a
Yeah. You don't
fear-based
want a disruptive
energy.
mind state for the kids. Yeah.
No, no. We have an open conversation. We have a teenager where, she would ask, what it is, was, what's happening. And we would
Mm-hmm.
have an open dialogue, but never from a place of fear. But,
Nope.
it's happening,
Mm-hmm.
we have a conversation. There was, our family also who got sick. I had
Mm-hmm.
a colleague here who also died from, we
Yeah.
had a conversation, but it was more of, loving place and not from
Yes.
fear. And I think that a lot of my friends they got sucked back to to news and watching news, and I was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You know I know that it's hard. Basically, like I have 90% of my entrepreneurs friends are from states, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand that things are different and they are here, but please, like if you know it is a perspective that is
Mm-hmm.
just a perspective.
Yeah.
It's not the perspective.
Right.
And what news gives you, it's the media. It's not like the truth.
Yeah.
Um,
They're
it's
trying to
just
give you information that they don't have facts to support. They're literally
yes,
trying to give you what they consider like an op-ed article. They're trying to give you a perspective of one thing without providing you the actual data that supports what they're saying. And so at the end of the day, there's no facts behind it. It's just
yeah,
it's one
especially
person
if you're
telling a story.
100%, especially if you're like fragile mindset, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
buy into the story.
Yep.
And I think it's so crucial to to question everything.
You
I
have
think
to.
this was
Yeah.
also, I think that this was also like a blessing in a way that we got to, question. And
Hmm.
you guys, if you're listening to this, like question everything with me,
Everything.
Dean. That tells
Everything.
you everything.
Yes.
So,
There's
you
no
know,
point in my life where I've ever reached where I can say I don't have more to learn. And that's my whole
mhm.
thing is question everything because we'll never know enough.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's so beautiful because I feel that we are just awakening as a society, as a nation, as a humanity. We are just being this awakening species that is just like growing into a place of, what you said, compassion,
Hmm.
love, kindness, caring. I think that
Yeah.
nature and just the I don't know, universe gave us this, what, hold on. Like
Yeah.
you have been screwing around for so many decades, years,
Yeah.
let's just stop and take care of each other in a
Yeah,
way that it's,
instead of holding the emotions in like we were just discussing, you want to wear the emotions on your sleeve these days. And I think, like you said, as a society, we're becoming more woke to the fact that it's okay to wear our emotions outside. It's okay to say
yes.
I'm scared. It's okay to say I don't understand things. It's okay to say, I'm depressed and I don't know how to handle it. And it's okay to wear those things. When they become
Hmm.
so unhealthy that you need help, people nowadays are more likely to help, I feel. Versus in the past, it used to be, oh, this guy, he's acting really weird. Well, he's acting weird because he's depressed and doesn't have these coping skills to get through it. Or maybe the medication he's on that his doctor gave him is not working for him. These
Hmm.
things are always, there's different variables. Each individual is always different. But I feel like you just said, as a society, I think we have grown to a point where we're maybe at a point, maybe at just a real pivot point in our society where we as a society globally are getting maybe not so much more intelligent, but more in tune with each
Hmm.
other. And I think at sometimes what we hear in our world going on is that we're so in tune now with each other that it's kind of a little scary. And so maybe that's why you see a lot of the divisiveness and people always want to be right and they got to argue stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's really boils down to human nature. We're kind of scared or a fear of things we don't know or understand. And because we don't understand why people in society are now are acting the way they're acting, we kind of get like, uh-oh, this is kind of new to me. And we kind of get a little scared. I think the pandemic has been difficult for everybody because I think this is the first time, honestly, in the world that everybody in the world has been through something that is the same thing, but it's the first time we've all experienced it. So nobody really knows how to act and nobody really knows how to react to it.
Yeah, that's why, I love to just wrap this with one sentence or one word.
Yeah.
We are one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This pandemic gave us an opportunity to see that it affects everyone.
Yes. Yep.
And we are oneness, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like you there in, where are you from?
I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the United States. Yeah.
Oklahoma. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yep.
but and I am in Sweden. It affects you. It affects
Yeah.
me. It affects someone in Philippines. It affects
Mm-hmm.
someone in India. It affects everyone.
Yep.
And we as a whole need to, not just react, but be
Mm-hmm.
proactive.
Correct.
How can we help each other? If this pandemic wouldn't happen, you and me probably wouldn't have a conversation, and
Right.
you and me probably wouldn't like reach people around the globe,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very real. I think this pandemic it's done a few things professionally. It's done a few things in our personal lives. I think for one, it's given people a lot of opportunity to be home with their families more,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. And I think here in the United States, of course, like Sweden's been a lot different, I know, on the way they've handled it. The United States, there's been each state has kind of done its own thing. And so some states have completely locked down. You can't leave your home. You have to wear a mask. And some states are even making you wear a mask in your home with your family. And so it's gotten that weird and that crazy. And then there's other states like Oklahoma here. You only have to wear a mask when you're in a business, and then out in public, really, but you don't have to wear it all the time. And then there's no real lockdown. You can go to work, you can drive down the road, you can do whatever you want. It's pretty free here. But each state kind of has handled it different, which again implements more pressure on each individual in each state. So you have people that are just, this first time we're dealing with a pandemic, they're very confused already. They don't understand if it's real, if they're going to die, what's going to go on. And then they have the government, their local government, telling them this is what you have to do. And some people can't, they can't cope that way. You know, they're used to having, I mean, how many years in America we've had, supposedly we're a free country, and then all of a sudden each state's going to lock down its citizens how they want. And so it's a drastic change to what anyone here is used to. And of course you have millions that are just fighting back. They're like, nope, we're not going to listen to our government, and we're going to protest and have fights. But at the end of the day, while that's awesome, and I'm like, good, stand up for what's right. At the same time, you know, the mental health capacity that it's created, but the good things that I think have come out of this pandemic, honestly, are like you just said. I'm able to speak to somebody in Sweden and have a conversation that, like you said, may have never happened. I'm able to reach people around the world and spend time doing so, to give a platform during this pandemic for people to understand that you and I are human just like them, and we're going through it, and we have ways to overcome it. And so I think those are important things. But to be home with our families more, and appreciate more what we miss when we're at the 9-to-5 busy schedule doing work and business, it has been a big, profound change. The other thing I think is it's given us an opportunity to, as professionals as well as in our personal life, to really look at how we can shift and change our perspective to business, and how we can open doors virtually. We now see more brick and mortar stores going out of business, and more people going online with their businesses. And I don't think, honestly, looking into the future, I don't think even after the pandemic, I don't think that's going to change. I think we're seeing a market trend that's shifting us to a more technological and a more virtual environment.
Sophisticated. Mm-hmm.
Correct. And I think, again, you being a business coach and with your entrepreneur background, I mean, do you see the similar trend coming, and where do you kind of see things going?
I think that the one trait that really came up for everyone is the ability to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we got a little bit comfortable.
Yes.
We got a little bit comfortable. We got, I'm here. I have my cozy
Mm-hmm.
business, whether that's a shop, physical, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it allows us to see that, entrepreneurs, one of the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs is actually to be flexible.
Yeah.
And we lost a little bit of this,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that though my business grew up exponentially this year due to, I teach how to launch
Mm-hmm.
business online. So it was I was always already.
You were almost ready for that already. Yeah.
I was already ready, but
yeah.
It was also to take in so many people and to take in all of this. It got me to a place where I felt, I need to change as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just okay now. I sow for so long. Now I'm gonna reap. It wasn't just like that. I needed to transition mindset, and when you go to the next level, there's always you're gonna deal with some kind of devil, and
mm-hmm.
It's always this is a monster that I never seen before.
Yeah.
What's going on? So many challenges as well. So I think that the trend is actually virtual experiences are going to be our normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just who's going to be more innovative in this space. I think that we have such a great opportunity. It's not like Richard Branson was here 30 years ago and he did this. No. He is here and you are here. You have the same opportunity like him. Gary Vee was there with his crazy. No, he is here and he uses the same platform, the same
mm-hmm.
tools as you can. So there is no he has an advantage. No, it's being small business owner right
mm-hmm.
now. Small business owner is such a great opportunity.
I think so too.
Because you can reach people in your on your networks, in your platforms, whatever that is. We have this crazy TikTok, Snapchat, Twitters, whatever. You choose your platform.
There's so many ways to get yourself out there. Yeah.
so many ways. And I think that, also like with podcasts, and I think that people are more and more listening to the podcast. Like there, I don't know, in my communities, like there has been so many new podcasts
Yeah,
that
it's
will
like
never
doubled.
happen.
It's almost doubled this year, I swear.
And I think that, no one said, but he already did a podcast. No,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't stop me, because my story, my experience, my people will listen to me.
Yeah,
And being aware of that you have unique skills and unique story that will always attract people who are same as you or
yeah.
want to be as you, allowing yourself to be who you are will lead to such a great opportunities.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I really do think that we're going to see a big shift in, even after the pandemic. I don't think we're going to see a lot of the brick and mortar stores come back. I think what we're already seeing here in the States is a lot of your businesses like insurance, some of your healthcare sales and providers that way are doing more online and
Virtual.
virtual, or even home visit. Like there's not going to be office spaces anymore, is what we're hearing a
No,
lot of,
because
because
it's
if
freaking expensive.
it's
It's freaking
expensive, or
expensive.
exactly. So the overhead, you don't have the building, you don't have the insurance to cover, you don't have, you're not worried about the risk of having, say, 10 employees in a building, that you're paying each one. You're able to take away a lot of overhead, save some money, make some more profit that way. But I think that after all of this, I think a lot of people never even thought that this would be a way to do business on this level. And now that we all recognize, hey, the world's still going on, even though we've had to change everything, I think people are realizing we can do this. We can do business this
Yeah,
way. And it's
yeah,
just like you said, it's a matter of being more innovative than the next. When you're in your element in the real world dealing with people professionally, you have to stand out. You have to market yourself and your business and your brand a certain way. And it's going to be the same online. If you want to stand out,
yeah.
you have to market, brand, and put yourself, like you said, on these different platforms where people will hear about you, know about your message, and you will relate to the people that basically you're what I consider your team, your family. I mean, the people that are
Hmm.
listening to you will become your family, your team, and they'll always be there for you. Um, you
So
know,
just to give you a perspective, I think that it's more about resourcefulness, and I want to give a
yes.
perspective that I seen with a lot of events, and I had the privilege to work with some of like really giants in this industry, and how it actually went for them. Like, maybe like Tony Robbins, he 40 years he did
Mm-hmm.
like his signature events in person.
Yep.
Like that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop him. He was very scared. He was angry. He was afraid. Like, what's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic. I can't go on the stage on a
Yeah.
football arena and organize my UPW or whatever, Date with
Mm-hmm.
Destiny, whatever that is. What do I have? Like, what is there for me to do? Do I have resources? Yes, let's build a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Let's build a studio. Let's bring. And he was actually by switching the mindset, switching the perspective, he was able to build a studio where he hosted like first virtual event that had 30,000 people
Yeah.
on the Zoom.
That's crazy.
30,000.
Yeah, that's great.
And the cost of that? Yes, to build it took him like millions, but
Yeah, the initial investment. Yeah.
yeah, but now every single weekend he has like 10,000, 30,000. Do you
Yep.
just imagine? And for people who never could attend, to go
Mm-hmm.
to States, to go to wherever, to,
Yep.
they were able to experience that.
Yeah. And
And
it's amazing.
it's amazing because, it's not the same, but, I think it gives a lot of people, um, access to it, and it
Yeah.
also gives entrepreneurs to be more resourceful and to find new ways. And it doesn't need to be like, you need to have a physical contact. It's about the experience.
Yes.
It's about the experience you take through your people.
Yep.
We don't need to have fancy studio to
Yeah.
make people feel good when they
No.
listen to us,
Yep. Yeah,
right?
because at the end of the day,
So
it's a podcast, and they're listening with their ears most of the time, unless they're online. They're not visually seeing the show. Although, like you and I mean, we can post things, the video and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's the audio, what we're saying, what we're speaking, that they're actually hearing. It's not about the studio. It's not about all those things, the visual aspects of it.
It's really about the feeling. How do you want people to feel
Mm-hmm.
around your brand, around your podcast, around what is the message that you're giving? Like being so mindful and so aware of what you're putting out there that it affects at
Yeah.
least one person.
Yep.
Like having that perspective changes everything.
Yeah, and it's important. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's radio shows all over the world, have been for years, decades. There's TV talent, there's TV talk shows all over. Most of the time, those they get the hits they need, they get the viewership they need. But at the end of the day, you got to present something. To me, you've got to present something that's beneficial. You've got to present something that gives to the audience and not always takes. And by that I mean, like, I could have the top rated talk show in the world and be somebody who everybody around the world may know my name, but if I'm not bringing every episode a message that could potentially help somebody, then really my show is nothing more than like any other show on the planet. And I find that to be, like, for me, that's this platform for Two Party Podcast. That's really the important thing. Is I am hoping one person in the audience hears us just having a great discussion today and says, you know what she said was so important, and it's going to help me through with something I'm trying to overcome. And the other thing that I really enjoy about this dynamic that we're changing into, with the virtual and the business part of it, is what I'm seeing is a lot more collaboration between businesses. So in other words, like you had Nike and you had Adidas shoes, and it's always been one or the other type of competitiveness. And what you're seeing a lot of now, and that's maybe a bad example, but in different industries, there's more companies and corporations getting together with each other to help the industry itself. And that's amazing, especially like, say, the music industry. You're seeing a lot of online virtual concerts and collaborations between bands and members that maybe never really did that. And that to me is amazing, because what better way to promote and get us through a pandemic and help small business owners than to team up with and partner with bigger business owners, even during this time. So that the professional relationships, as well as the personal and even small business relationships that are coming together out of this, I think is really cool. It's good to see.
Dean, you dropped the mic. Collaboration, and back to that team with what we are talking about. We are one.
Yeah.
I can do so much myself, but I can do so much better with your help.
Yeah. And it's not so important that I'm making a ton of profit as it is if I make profit and invest it in others like you and your businesses. That's the important thing. If I'm helping to lift people up around me with the money I'm making, then it makes me all the more successful. I mean, in my eyes.
There is a quote. Yeah, 100%. There is a quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
And I think, like, this is the virtual experience and virtual reality that we are in right now. And this is not going to go away.
No, not by any means.
We are here for the long run. And you and me and you and, someone else, we co-creating this space, that's going to get us far.
Yeah.
Because we were running fast, but alone. Now we have an ability to go far together.
Yeah. And I love the fact that we're able to get more dynamic minds. We're able to, I think a certain way. I was raised a certain way. You were raised a certain way. When you start bringing great minds together from all different parts of the world to collaborate and really bring information to people, I think we as a whole are doing a service for our society by helping people that may not have been able to get information that we offer. I think it's very important that we do that. And I think that we're kind of setting a precedent for, like, we want a better society, we want a better community, so therefore that's why we're providing this information. But we're also going to bring you some of the best guests that also have great insight into other things we don't know about, things that that I don't know, and we're able to share that and worldwide. And I think that to me has been the biggest important thing of our show, is to be able to reach people worldwide, but to be able to bring guests like you and others that just have this dynamic and have this knowledge that I don't have, but they can share, and I can give them an opportunity to vocalize it across the world. And I think it's important. And your show, doing the same thing on your show, I think you're sharing with an audience, that potentially may never have heard the information we're sharing.
Yeah, so beautiful. I think that you saying one thing like knowledge is something that we can, you know, you go and Google
Yeah.
whatever you Google, you're gonna find it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you sharing a space where we exchange knowledge
Mm-hmm.
lands differently than just, I'm going to Google and I'm going to, oh, so how do I cope in 2021? That's
Right.
nothing that you can use. It's not
No.
tangible. But me and you having a conversation around that, that's going to be something that they can implement.
Yeah. Using that experience from life.
Yes, yes, yes. So I love it. Collaboration, co-creation is very important. And I think, yeah, massive trend in masterminding, bringing people together in different, masterminds, co-working spaces. That's going to be definitely a trend in 2021 and on.
Yeah, and I look forward to it. I really do. I look forward to seeing like your show, my show, different podcasters that are coming up. I look forward to seeing the impact that we can have, and together. There's nothing more that I love when I get guests booked than I find out they're another podcast, because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is our opportunity to continue to be accountable to each other and then accountable to our audience by bringing good information, by not being, for example, like we talked about earlier, by not being the news, by not being the
No, yeah.
media, for us
Yes.
actually being able to bring life experience and stories that hit close to home and personal. Those are the things I think that we should continue to just expand on and bring to the audience. I think it's just so important to do so. Um, it is. It's really, I feel blessed and I feel honored to even be able to do this. Sometimes, some days I wake up and I'm like, hey, I got guest interviews I got to go handle. And I talk to a neighbor or a friend and they're like, well, I'm going to work and, I'm having a problem with my wife, or, there's some issues going on. And I'm like, man, I am so blessed to be able to reach out and just share experience while a friend of mine's going to work and struggling with his relationship. And I just find it just so good to be able to offer, this platform to anybody, whether it's, and again, it could be one person in India that I've never met that's listening to this through translation on their phone. And they're like, wow, this guy, some crazy American in Oklahoma, he's cool. It's just that kind of impact that I feel so blessed and honored to be able to do. And then to be able to book good guests and share your story and what you do with our guests. I think that's just amazing. I really do. Um, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the other things you do, because I want the audience to really understand what you do as a community. I'm just going to read this off of your website: community for intentional female leaders who want to make global influence beyond money. Tell us a little bit about that. Share that with the audience, and maybe break down a little bit about the programs that you do.
Oh, so fearless and successful. Everything with my brand is being fearless and successful. And a lot of people come to me and say, "D, okay, so what does that actually mean? That you don't feel fear?" Yes, I do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
shit scared all of the time. Like
Yep.
I am. But actually, that coping with the fear and overcoming the fear gives you that um, grit, resilience, and courage. I think that's the courage more than just being fearless. um, and going back to that, if you're afraid that you're gonna die,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you live as that's your last day? Like,
Yes.
why don't you go full in?
Yes.
And I love to ask my clients, like, okay, if you would have like 6 months to live,
Mm-hmm.
how would you live every day as the
Right.
healthiest and the happiest person in the world? And I think that, a lot of people, yes, money is important. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that money is not. Of course it is. It's
Yeah.
a, I love money. I
Yeah.
don't
We
have
all have to
anything
pay
in
bills.
right. And it's also like, what does actually money means for you? For me, it means just a transaction, energy that I can, make choices in life easier for
Mm-hmm.
me, for myself, for my family, for other people.
Yep.
And I think that brand became like, from just thinking about me and how can I actually get from being like really broke as a joke, cleaning shitty toilets to now like,
Right.
really like donating thousands per month, and this is just like an opportunity to see how quickly can things change when you don't think just about yourself, but also
Yes.
who you are influencing and impacting.
Yeah.
So for me, that became such a great and important distinction to bring together community of leaders that
Hmm.
think about influence in a different way that's not just connected with income. And I have been able to, collaborate what you said with some
Yeah.
amazing people. I hosted
Hmm.
my own summits. I hosted giveaways. Master classes to donate away. Now when we had also the thing, one of my virtual assistants is from Philippines. We organized this charity event where we brought our programs together and we just donated the money that was from that program.
Hmm.
And it's just so beautiful to be able to create a
Yeah.
space to help other people, because it's not like it's going from it's just a transaction that goes
Yeah.
around. It's not,
Yep.
and not living in that mentality that we lack something. By no means I'm not saying some people are really struggling, but
Hmm.
those who have, like, we need to step up and
Yes.
to really be able to give as we can, because when you give you receive.
Yeah.
um, in my programs, like, it was always based around launching a business and helping business owners to find their way online.
Hmm.
And I have, like, from yogi teachers to coaches, speakers, authors, a lot of I coached hundreds of students during these 3 years. And I think that one of the biggest things that happened this year was actually, like, I'm gonna kind of a pivot and go into more of a partnerships. So more of a how we can, all of us, how can we create a space that we leaders impact people who are not there yet,
Right.
in a way that it's not you need to charge, like, really. I have my
Yeah.
one-to-one clients that I charge, like,
Yeah.
but it's more of like, how can we bring together with, like, a couple of hundreds and how people
Hmm.
just get on the ground and just start something.
Yeah.
um, I became, like, really obsessed with, I said that when I reach 1 million people, 1 million women, I'm going to give everything for free. Like, I want
Right.
to be the coach that gives the most valuable things online for free that
Right.
everyone can afford.
Yeah.
That's why I'm also working. My book is going to be published now, in December. So it's really exciting. It's
That's
memoir.
awesome.
It's not a how-to business book. It's about my life stories, how life of a mother, of an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
and really a global citizen. I consider myself as someone who is curious about the humanity, about people, about nation, about religion, where I don't think that we are different. In a
Right.
core, we all have, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the color, the nation, the religion. And I am, I always say that one of my superpowers is speaking 7 languages, though that, like, was my biggest uh, challenge when I moved to Sweden. I couldn't
Yeah.
speak language, and that got me to a place where I didn't feel good. But that became my superpower, you
Right.
know. And I think connecting through not just through the different languages, but connecting through the language of love and
Yes.
gratitude, I think got me to a place where I really enjoy. And what you said, professional, yeah, okay, but not being so serious, having
Right.
fun,
Yeah.
enjoying my day, like bringing the best out of life every
Hmm.
single day.
Yeah.
And that gives me
And I think we as a,
excitement.
yeah, yeah, and exactly it. If you're doing something you're not really enjoying, you're not passionate about, you're just not 100% in it all the time, every day, you don't want to be there. I always encourage people, make sure you got income, make sure your bills are paid, but it's time to start looking for what fills that void. Because nobody wants to go through life. I mean, 9 to 5 for 30 plus years till you retire or something at some menial job working for somebody and you're miserable. Life's too
Yes,
short to be miserable and earn money to pay your bills. It should really
yes,
be focused on being happy. Finding, sometimes it's a matter of like we talked about earlier, perspective. It's sometimes about shifting the way you think looking at things differently in the world, that will help you find that happiness. But it's really like, it's so awesome you said that, because a lot of people, I think, forget that it's okay to have a job, but it's okay to have
Yeah.
a job you love.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and really, that's more important. If you can find the profession or the job that you really enjoy and you love, and work on building on that. And the other point that you made that I love is that, about, you have clients that you deal with that are paid clients, and then you have clients that little, that are easier to bring in at a lower level. Not You don't want to have people that can't afford to get the knowledge you have. You want those people to succeed. You want to lift them up, and in order to do so, you offer that platform. And I think that's amazing, because there's so many people in the world that have talent or knowledge, and they're just not willing to share it. And yeah, it is money. At the end of the day, it's
Yeah,
money,
I think
but
that it's also,
you have to
yeah,
help people.
I think that here's a big distinction, because a lot of, like, coaches and people are telling us you need to, charge a lot of money. You need to, you know, uh, you need to suck the life out of your people.
Yeah.
No, you don't
No.
need to.
No.
We have an opportunity. That's why, like, my book will be available for $1.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that we made us, and the profit will go to, to donation,
Yeah.
will go to nonprofit organization. It's not about the profit. And what you're saying, you still can have a job.
Yep.
But if it job fulfills you, where I come, if you remember from the beginning, I said I left my good job, a dream job,
Yeah.
because I was not fulfilled. And it was a successful thing on the outside, but it really, like, drained my energy,
Yeah.
on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And life is too short to feel overwhelmed, to feel I just don't want to live like this anymore.
Right.
You have a choice to stop that.
Yeah. And in order to, in life, we need to grow. And so we have to reach our goals. And in order to reach our goals, once we reach our goal, we should set higher goals. And we should always be growing. And that means being happy in what you do. That means being able to push through things, but always remembering that life is so short. It is important to move forward. It is important to embrace work and ethic and a lifestyle we enjoy. That to me is the most important. Deanna, I know we are pushing our time, and I just want to say it's been great having you on here. I could go on forever. I really enjoy these. I love it when I find guests that I can just engage in conversation, and we can just keep hitting off it. I do want to have you back on at a later time, maybe after your book, or maybe in the new year we can get you back on as a second round. I always like to get guests on a first time, the audience gets to know them, and then bring them back a second time, because then they know you. And so I'd love to have you back on. It's been great. Anytime, if you want me on your show, I'd love to be on your show. So anytime.
100%.
For
Yeah,
sure.
100%. I love to actually, what I realized, and this is a nugget, this is a tactic,
Yep.
you guys. If you have a podcast, I think that it's so crucial, and it's a little bit of a strategy, because I'm a natural born strategist. If you have a podcast, it's so crucial to co-create a podcast
Yep.
space with other podcasters, because that gives you, leverage on different podcasting platforms. And it also is like you switching the role. It gives you another perspective, because if I interview you,
Yep.
I am in a different role,
Yeah.
and I get to experience you in a different light. And I think it's like building those relationship depth rather than wide.
Yes.
Will give us so much, so much goodness in life.
Yeah.
It's not about the numbers. It's not about,
No.
it's what we said, if there's a one person, but also if we can flip the coin, and I interview you and I get curious about your life,
Yep.
that's a win-win situation, because
Yeah.
we get to know each other so on a deeper level.
Correct. I think the biggest thing I've gotten out of podcasting and these guest interviews is the relationships. And building these relationships is so important. And like you said, co-creating and helping to bring new markets to other shows, I think is just an important thing. And we just all got to support each other in this community. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about where they can find you? Tell us maybe a little bit about your book, and just kind of give us the promo stuff that we need to hear.
Okay, so let me wrap this up. So you can find me on Instagram. I love to spend my time on Instagram.
Okay.
This is my favorite, behind the scenes, kind of, you get to experience me jumping on the trees, like playing with my kids and all this good stuff. I'm being raw and really like honest there. The second thing, listen to Fearless and Successful podcast on any podcasting platform. And I think that I really want to promote my book. The book will be out in December. Maybe we can put a link to the wait list or whatever,
For sure.
so people can find it. The book is called The Three Color Butterfly, and it really talks about the nuances of my life being a mom, entrepreneur, and global citizen. And these are like kind of I wrote this book for myself because I was in a place in 2020 where I wanted to dive into who am I,
Yeah.
exploring myself. And I think the book gave me, like, I selfishly said, this is going to be my piece of creation that's going to be for myself. I always give and I always create
Yeah.
this value and content for others.
And that was for
And my coach,
you.
it was for myself. And I said, I'm not going to judge myself. I might like just throw it in a drawer when I'm done. But then my coach said, you need to publish this book because you need to do it for your clients. Because we had this party and my client said, we can't wait. Like, can we just buy it now? Like, can you sell it? Like, is it done? And I said, no, it's not. But it's like really seeing the power of being that person that leads, and create space for other people. I never thought that this is going to be possible, that people come to you and say, I want to read your story. And it came to a point where I said, I wish that at one point I could read my mom's story. I wish that I could read my grandmother's story.
Right.
I think that's the legacy that I want to leave for my kids,
That's
where
awesome.
there will not be a regret. They will read my story, how I overcome my biggest hardships, my biggest adversities, and then they're gonna say, "Look, mom made it, and I can too."
That's beautiful. That's
And,
beautiful.
and it's,
That's a
yeah,
great legacy to leave behind. And just I try to think about my family and everything I do, and every day, and in my journeys professionally and personally, and it really like that. That's beautiful to have something that later on your kids can be like, look, I love my mom, I know my mom, and now I have a piece of her I can read about.
yeah.
That's great.
It's never gonna go. We can talk like about the leverage, and we can talk about everything that you leave to your kids, or to people that you leave behind. But book is something that I feel I was such a nerd, and I was like always
Yeah.
bookworm, and I think that book in itself is such a great treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not why I decided not to write a how-to business book, because I said, I want something that's going to be timely,
Yeah.
that's going to live forever. And having that ability, and I'm not a writer, I told you already, like,
Yeah.
and that was also like, doing things that are uncomfortable. That was such a big learning for me, like
Mm-hmm.
writing, like that's not my
Yeah.
style. I
You're
don't want to
like,
write.
not what
And
I want to
English,
do.
English is not even my first language, but I did it because I
Yep.
want to show, even to my girls, who we speak 4 languages in our house,
Mm-hmm.
like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, you really can.
Yep. Yep.
Nothing can stop you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just, you got to have that positive mind state. You have to set your limits high and then shoot higher. It's just what we got to do in life, no matter whether we're in a pandemic, whether we're, just in the business world, or maybe just having a fun day. We have to always shoot for our best. We always have to set goals that push and challenge us. It's the
Yeah.
most important thing. So again, I'll post these links. If you could just send me a little bit of the, just email me or just message me a couple of the links, and the maybe like you said, the early link for the book, and I will get all that posted with this episode.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm gonna send you over everything. So I really want to express my gratitude for you to be able to, just share this. As I said, even if there is a one person that we can impact, then there is a one person that can, reach to that level where we are, that's awesome.
For sure. And I really appreciate having you on, and I look forward to having you back on. So you have a great day.
Thank you.